on Judge Alex. A dog is mysteriously missing.
When I got back to the house, she never ran to the door. I said, "Where's Zoe?" She said, "I don't know." When I went outside, I came across some blood. So I'm looking up at her 4th floor window and I'm looking down and I'm like, nah, that didn't happen.
But when the unthinkable happens, who is to blame?
My son has a habit of throwing things out the window, and she knows of this. We don't open my windows in my house.
Today, Judge Alex has all the proof he needs.
One of the maintenance guys came out and he said, "Someone threw doggy from window." My friend went and she came out first and she said, "Nikki, you do not want to see this."
See what?
See the video.
What video?
They have surveillance cameras.
Is that what you sent us?
Yes.
As a cop, he stood up for the law. As a trial lawyer, he fought for the truth. And as a criminal court judge, he commanded authority. Now he returns to preside over America's courtroom. Judge Alex. Nikki Norman is suing her former roommate, Imani Hanks, for $5,000 because she claims that while she was at work, Imani threw her dog Zoe out of their apartment window, killing her. Nikki is here with her mother, Deborah Norman. Imani Hanks denies having anything to do with Nikki's missing dog. Imani says she was kind enough to give Nikki a place to live when she had no place else to go, and she can't believe Nikki is suing her. Imani is countersuing Nikki for $4,624 for rent, property damage, and defamation of character.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Alex Ferrer presiding.
Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Norman,
Yes.
you say that your former roommate killed your dog by throwing it out the window of your apartment. So you're suing her for the cost of the dog and also for mental anguish. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and Ms. Hanks, you say you had absolutely nothing to do with the death of her dog, and in fact you're counterclaiming for slander and also for pain and suffering and for rent that she owes you. Is that
Yes.
right? Okay. All right, tell me what happened here.
What happened was my living arrangement got really sticky. So I was initially going to go back and move to Detroit with my mother, or I was going to go and actually probably go stay in a shelter.
And is that how you ended up moving in with the defendant?
Yes, she asked me to come and stay with her.
At the point when you moved in, or at the point when you met Ms. Hanks here, did you already have this dog that you're suing over?
Yes,
You
I
did?
had already had her prior.
Tell me about the dog.
Zoe was full of a lot of love. She was not a barky dog. She never snapped
What
at
kind
people.
of dog was she?
A 3.5-pound terrier.
Do you have any pictures of her?
Yeah.
Let me see what you have. Victor, bring him up. When did you get Zoe?
I got Zoe in November of 2003, the end of 2003.
Let me put these up. Now, is that a Yorkshire Terrier?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that a teacup terrier?
Yeah.
So it's a little tiny terrier. Okay. All right. Next picture. I am assuming that all of that over there belonged to Zoe, right?
Yeah.
She had a little dog stroller. Are those clothes on a rack?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what did you think of the dog? Like it or
When I
not?
saw Zoe, she was a pound and I just fell in love with her. She was my grand dog. Zoe was just so unique to me. Really, I loved Zoe. You couldn't help but to love her. And she never barked. I said, for the first months, Zoe never would bark or anything. And once Zoe, probably 5 or 6 months later, barked, Maya called me, "Mom, she's barking, listen to her. You can hear, roof, roof." I said, "I can't believe it. The dog is a dog." But
What did you think of Zoe?
Oh, I love Zoe.
You
love
met her
Zoe.
when she moved in, or before that?
I used to go to Nikki's house all the time.
All right, so in any event, go ahead.
This
Tell
is
me
what
happened.
happened. I got up early in the morning and left for work. I had to be to work at 9 o'clock. She was already awake when I got up. So later on that day, when I got back to the house, this is Zoe's routine. Zoe would run to the door. She never ran to the door. I said, "Pinky, where is Zoe?"
You're Pinky?
Yes.
I
Okay.
said, "Where's Zoe?" She said, "I don't know. She's under the bed."
I was
I
asleep.
said, "No, she's not under the bed. You were falsely
No,
So I went and I'm like, Pinky, get up. And she's like, what? And I said, where's Zoe? She's like, she's under the bed. I said, no, she's not under the bed. So I ended up like being frantic and I went outside. When I went outside, I saw like a whole bunch of my drawing stuff thrown outside and I came across some blood. So I'm looking up at her 4th floor window and I'm looking down and I'm like, nah, that didn't happen. That couldn't have happened. So I ended up, went back in the house. I'm looking for her, like I'm frantic, like I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm cursing, I'm frantic because I'm like, where is my dog? Like, this is not her routine. Where is she at? She's like, I don't know. You need to calm down. Then she started calling everybody. People I didn't even tell her to call.
Because she started getting violent, and she was yelling, and she scared my son. When she immediately came downstairs, because it was evident that my son threw everything out the window, because there was cups.
What do you mean your son threw everything out the window?
My son has a habit of throwing things out the window, basically. And she knows of this. We don't open my windows in my house. We don't leave my windows open because there's no screens to protect. There's bars, like, you know, the security bars, but there's no screen.
Coming up on Judge Alex, does this witness accuse her of something wicked?
I said, where is Zoe? She said, I don't know. I said, you are a liar. I said, why don't you confess what has happened to Zoe so that we will know?
And later is the answer on this videotape.
One of the maintenance guys came out. He said, someone throw doggy from window. My friend went and she came out first and she said, Nikki, you do not want to see this.
See what?
See the video.
What video?
They have surveillance cameras.
Is that what you sent us?
Yes. So I called my mother, and my mother will tell you, I was frantic, I was crying. It was like really bad.
What did you do then?
Yes, she called and she said, Zoe is missing. I said, what do you mean missing? And she was sobbing and I was like, what are you trying to tell me? She said, Zoe is missing. I really think that Zoe might be dead. I said, no. I said, Zoe isn't dead or whatever. And so Pinky got on the phone and I said, where is Zoe? She said, I don't know. I said, what do you mean you don't know? Haven't you been there all day? I said, look, I said, I am a straightforward person. I said, you are a liar. She said, I'm not a liar. I said, you are. I said, why don't you confess what has happened to Zoe so that we will know?
Ms. Hanks, tell me what was going on during this time.
Basically, she was yelling, stomping, banging on my window, like punching my walls and stuff, and really out of control. My son was there, he was crying too. Because when she first came upstairs and noticed all this stuff outside, she spanked him. She was spanking him on his butt, and she did not do that.
No,
yes,
I was not, Your Honor. No, I was not.
All right,
took my son and she was going like that.
Moving on from that, what happened?
My son
She's
started
hysterical
screaming, because she was screaming and crying while she was doing this. She went into a mania, and then she calmed down into crying, and I just grabbed her, and I was just holding her and hugging her, telling her to calm down.
Okay, so what happened next after this incident in the house?
My mother called me that Monday. She said, Nikki, go scrape up some of the blood that was on the ground so we can take it to the vet to go and get it tested, because they had already had her blood sample. So I said, okay. I had one of my really good friends drive me there. So when we got there, one of the maintenance guys came out. And he said, she started talking to him because I don't know Spanish. She knows just a little bit of Spanish. And she said, you know, this, doggy. And he said, oh, yeah. He said, someone throw doggy from window. So then we kept looking. Me and her looked at each other, and we're like, what? And so we ended up, he led us to the manager, or the super of the building. My friend went, and she came out first. And she said, Nikki, you do not want to see this. And I said, yes, I do. And she said,
see what?
See the video. She saw it before I saw it.
What video?
The video. There was a surveillance video.
Surveillance cameras.
They have surveillance cameras.
So they have surveillance cameras, and those surveillance cameras caught your dog falling from the window?
Yes, they caught the dog falling from the window. That was the hardest thing for me to even look at.
Is that what you sent us?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'll play the clip that you sent here. Can you tell me what I'm seeing? Okay, what do I have?
That is, you see the shaft right there with the...
I see the lid up, please.
With the air conditioner.
Oh, that's my story.
And what happened, that shaft, like I keep telling her, her window is on the 4th floor.
Okay, just tell me what I'm watching.
Okay, you're looking at her pick her up off the ground.
Yes, I explained that.
But she didn't do it. She don't know what happened to her, but yet you're sitting up here and you picking her up off the ground. and then you shove her in a garbage bag.
Up next on Judge Alex, does she get tripped up by her own story?
We were on our way out the door. Chris was like, the dog went outside. I opened the door in the courtyard. I see the dog lying dead. So I call her phone don't pick up.
What were you going to call her for?
To tell her to come home.
So when she eventually came home and she started asking you where her dog was, why did you tell her I don't know?
Judge Alex is back with the case of Nikki Norman, who's suing her former roommate Amani Hanks for $5,000 because she claims she killed her dog Zoe. Amani is countersuing Nikki for $4,624 for unpaid rent, damaged property, and defamation of character.
Tell me what happened.
Okay, this is what happened. From the beginning, when I said I was already up and I woke her up, I was ready to go. We were both ready to go out that morning. When we were on our way out the door, Chris was like, the doggy went outside. I looked at him like, the doggy didn't go outside. I didn't see the doggy, but I didn't think to look for the dog because my son, you know, he's 3 years old. I opened the door in the courtyard. I see the dog lying dead. I freak out because I think there's no dogs that are supposed to be on the premises in my building. The management is very strict about that.
You freak out because you're not supposed to have a dog on your premises,
it
not
was
because the dog is dead?
No, the dog is, no, I freaked out because the dog was dead, but I couldn't believe, like, my son threw the dog out the window. So I see the stuff scattered, her CDs, her cups and stuff. So I put that in the bag, and I also take her dog. First I cover it, and I was going to leave it there and try to find somebody. There was nobody there, then I thought, if I tell them that there's a dead dog in the courtyard, they'd be like, where'd the dog come from? And I'd have to explain our living situation, basically. And that I didn't want to get into because my lease wasn't renewed yet. And under the guidelines, it
What did
said,
you do with the dog?
basically, I picked the dog up, I knocked on the neighbor's door, I got a garbage bag, I put the dog in a garbage bag, and I called my friend. I called my friend to ask her if I could leave the dog in her backyard because she has a house. So I'm calling and for her to watch the dog because I had to go somewhere. Like, I was in a rush to go somewhere. So I call her phone don't pick up. It went straight to voicemail, her mailbox was full.
What were you going to call her for?
To tell her to come home.
So when she eventually came home and she started asking you where her dog was, why did you tell her I don't know?
Because I'm not going to let nothing happen to her or my son, and she was getting violent. I'm not going to tell you, oh, your dog, my son threw your dog out the window, and then I had to, in fact, put your dog in the plastic bag and throw it out in the garbage.
Okay, so let me
understand.
understand this. You find Zoe, who you like, or according to you, you love, you find her dead. And called her and you got voicemail. Did you leave a message?
There was no room in her mailbox. She doesn't check
So
her
you have no
mailbox.
contact with her at all, right? Okay. So you know the place she works at?
I don't know exact address, but I know.
You know the name of the place she works at?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you call the place and say, I need to speak to her, it's an emergency?
I didn't have the time to get the number.
Well, what do you mean time to get the number?
had
You went
somebody-
back upstairs and went to bed.
You're right.
No, I didn't.
Stop.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. No, I
Were you
didn't.
asleep when she got home?
This was over the course of a whole entire day. That
Yeah, I know.
happened
I'm
in
trying
the
to figure out
morning.
how over the course of a whole entire day, you did not pick up the phone and call your friend to tell her that the dog she loved so much was dead.
At
How
10:30.
you could not find time during an entire day, but you had time to go take a nap.
No.
That's what I'm trying to find out.
I didn't have, okay, this is
At what time did you go to sleep?
like I was asleep not even an hour before she came
Oh,
in.
so that was 1 hour that you could have
felt-
spent.
I fell asleep because I was so tired. I was sick that whole entire week, and she knows that I was very sick, and I stayed home those whole entire day. That was the only day I went outside, and she knew that I had important recertification appointments to me. She knew that. When I got up in the morning,
You are serious, right? I mean, this is the way you think. You see her dog that she loves dead, and instead of making it a priority to let her know, to contact her friends, to say, by the way, did you call any of your mutual friends and said, oh my God, Zoe's dead, can we try to find her?
I didn't tell them that. I told my friend, I called one of my friends, and that's who I told because she lives close in the area to help out, because she knows that. But
What
she's
time
not
in the
at
morning
work.
did this happen?
This happened, I don't know exactly what time because I didn't know the
What time?
10:30, and I left for work at 8.
10:30 in the morning. So from 10:30 in the morning till she gets home at what time?
6.
What did you do?
She didn't come in at 6.
What did you do from 10:30 to 6 or 6:30 or
Basically,
whatever?
after the dog incident happened, I had to go into my appointment. So I called my friend and I called her. I was like, can you watch this dog? Because I can't
What's this dog?
watch it. It was in a bag.
So you just had the dog in a bag?
I
and
wasn't-
You handed the dog in a bag to a friend of yours?
No, I couldn't. She wasn't home.
So what'd you do with it?
I put it in the garbage.
I have no remains for her.
We can bury
We
Zoe.
can't even bury her.
And I would have
not
known
to
she
mention,
was
Your
dead.
Honor, this girl calls me and texts me for nonsense all day long.
And you didn't know that day.
No, I
And then
don't.
not to mention, if you would show that clip again, that shaft, that air conditioning shaft, that shaft is right below her window. If her son had threw that dog out that window, she would have hit that shaft. Then not to mention the stuff the stuff that she's claiming that was thrown out the window. If you look at that clip, none of that stuff ain't even on the ground.
But
None of that stuff ain't even there.
That's
None of that stuff was there.
Stop.
Wait, so how did the stuff get there?
Stop.
You planned it.
How did I plan it if you didn't see me on camera? The whole
Because you didn't
Because
have
none of
the
the
fact.
stuff is on the ground then.
Miss Norman.
Okay, ladies. Okay.
Miss Norman, have a seat. Sit down. Sit down.
Coming up, Judge Alex calls her out on her defense.
Why didn't you text her? Call me right away.
Because my text wasn't working.
What, are you kidding me?
What do you mean?
You are the biggest liar I've ever seen in my life. Why didn't you text her? Call me right away.
Because my text wasn't working.
Your text wasn't working.
No, my phone was not working.
What are you kidding me?
What do you mean?
You are the biggest liar I've ever seen in my life. You have absolutely no credibility whatsoever. At first, I was going along with your story here about, oh, I've got a 3-year-old son who throws things out the window. But then I'm starting to figure out, wait a minute, there are bars on this window. Boy, that's a
the
pretty good
bars-
aim to hit the bars. Shut
I
up.
actually-
Don't interrupt me again, okay? And then you go down there, and you're the one picking up the body on videotape.
Yeah.
And then you just dispose of the body in a garbage can, right? In a garbage can, throwing away the thing she loves,
Not in
which
a
you can
garbage can.
evidently see here. And then there's no text because your phone isn't working. You apparently can text her for everything else, but you can't text her for that. And you stand here all cavalier and smirking.
I'm not, no, it's not.
Tell me exactly, what exactly is your counterclaim for? Because you have a claim for $4,600. I'm dying to figure out what the heck it's for.
Okay, as far as she was living in my apartment, did not pay no bill, nothing. She had her stuff. She did not live.
Skip the rent. What else?
She did not live sanitarily. Defamation of character, because she told people that I killed the dog, when in fact my son actually threw the dog out the window, and he stated to various people. He told her best
He didn't
friend.
tell me anything.
Because he was
Let
afraid
me tell
of
you something, Miss Norman, be quiet. I don't know if your son killed this dog or if you threw the dog out the window. So I don't know which one happened. What I do know is that you're an animal to throw away this pet that she loves so dearly, you know she loves dearly, and pretend like you don't know to save the confrontation, okay? So this is where we're at now. You're suing for all these damages for the dog and for pain and suffering, and you have, come back up here, Miss Norman, and you have a counterclaim. Your counterclaim is for pain and suffering and for defamation and for rent and for all this stuff and for a $50 bookshelf. Fine. Your counterclaim is garbage, okay? Your counterclaim is total garbage because of the way you behaved in this case. I can't say that I can award you for the dog because I don't know for a fact that she threw the dog out. However, for pain and suffering, you're asking for $3,800 since she acted like such a jerk. You're going to get $5,000 for pain and suffering.
All right.
Judge Alex has ruled in favor of the plaintiff and has denied the defendant's counterclaim. He has ordered the defendant to pay her $5,000.
I think the judge did make a good ruling because I didn't have a proper burial for her.
It's unfortunate that the dog is not here, but it wasn't out of malice.
Please do not let that woman handle or keep your animals or your children because they may come up murdered like she did Zoe.